like it. I don't like it. Have you guys ever heard of the Order of the Solar Temple?
No.
Not really.
The Order of the Solar Temple, also known as Ordre du Temple Solaire, or OTS, in French.
Nice.
Or simply, the Solar Temple, is a secret society and cult that claims to be based upon the ideals of the Knights Templar. OTS was started by Joseph de Montbreau and Luc Jouret in 1984. OTS is most infamously associated with a series of murders and mass suicides in 1994 and 1995 that claimed several dozens of lives in France, Switzerland, and Canada.
Multiple places, too. Holy shit.
Jesus.
So backtracking, this cult is based on the Knights Templar, or simply the Templars, were the inspiration that the Solar Temple's ideals were based upon. They were a Catholic military order recognized in 1139 by Omne Datum Optimum of the Holy See. The order was founded in 1119 and active from about 1129 to 1312.
So a couple centuries.
Yes, this was during the Crusades. The order, which was comprised of the wealthiest and most powerful, became the preferred charity throughout Christendom and grew rapidly in terms of popularity and power. Templar Knights, in their white garments and a red cross, were a prominent force during the Crusades. Most importantly, 90% of the order's members managed a large economic infrastructure throughout Christendom, considered to be an early form of banking, networking across Europe and the Holy Land.
How many percentage? I'm sorry.
90% of the Knights Templar.
Christ.
Wow. Which may have been the world's first multinational corporation.
And of course it was a cult.
Of course. When the Holy Land was lost, support for the order faded. Due to the secrecy of this order, King Philip IV of France, deeply in debt to the order, because this was a very aristocratic order to be involved in, took advantage of the situation to gain control over them. In 1307, he had many of the order's members in France arrested, tortured, into giving false confessions, and burned at the stake. Pope Clement V disbanded the order in 1312 under direction of King Philip.
Why? He just said, let's just get rid of this. It's not working, or...
Hey, you guys just stop.
Yeah. It was obviously not a good group and becoming kind of...
douchey.
A calamity.
Bad guys. They're bad guys.
They're kind of trying to kill Jerusalem every chance they get.
Correct.
So let's pull back on this.
So much has changed.
You can't give bankers too much power. They get a little crazy.
Right.
Goddamn right.
I mean, 90% of these people were economic people. People that were in the economy, so... They were a little nuts.
It's a lot of this. I mean, you can draw parallels with the Illuminati. You know,
Correct.
a lot.
A lot. like a lot. So flash forward to the 1950s. It is believed that the Solar Temple originates with French author Jacques Breuer, who established a sovereign order of the Solar Temple in 1952. In 1968, a schismatic order was renamed the Renewed Order of the Solar Temple, or ROTS, under the leadership of French right-wing political activist Julien Origas.
Now, French right-wing, is that on par with American?
Correct.
Right?
Very conservative.
Fiscally minded with money. They usually have some kind of religious mindset, right?
Correct. Yes. Okay. Basing ideas off of these cult beliefs, Joseph de Montbreau and Luc Jouret had their own separate ideas for cults and decided to combine their crazy and make one big crazy.
What could go wrong? It's two great crazies that taste crazy together.
Joseph de Montbreau was a preacher-esque kind of man among his own cults, and Luc Jouret was a Belgian homeopathic doctor.
It's always the Belgians, man. I keep on telling you, it's always the Belgians. Watch those people.
They have
Watch
really,
them.
really good beer, though.
Yes, they do. They do. And waffles are not too bad either.
Agreed.
But yet you hate them.
Of course.
Do they dip their fries in the mayo? Isn't that a Belgian thing?
Oh, I love that.
I do enjoy that, though.
I do enjoy that.
Is that a
really
thing?
love mayonnaise.
That's a thing in America, too?
It's a European thing.
Yeah. Canada, too.
Kaz is so upset.
Well, no, it's just
okay.
weird.
It's all right. Just sit back down.
The Order of the Solar Temple was located in Switzerland, France, and Canada. They had several goals in creating a cult, but their basic goal was to create authority and power they thought the world needed. So there's always this ego of the world needs this whole power and authority over them. Most of the beliefs surrounded the idea that life on Earth was ending. Because of this, the Order's goals were initially based around the survivalist behavior and doomsday prep. Members in Canada even started an organic farm that is actually still in operation.
Wow!
they did something right.
Yeah. Members also stocked up on food, weapons, and ammunition to prepare for the environmental collapse.
That's bad.
And what year is this?
1950s were about when talk started coming along, but about 1984 was when everything really came together.
Oh, okay.
Members stocked up on food, weapons, and ammunition to prepare for the environmental collapse, which they said would be caused by volcanoes.
Hello, Hawaii.
Right?
Hello, Mandaddy. My name is Fritz, though.
One of the leaders, Joseph DeMambro, was in charge of the cult's rituals and ceremonies. He led prayers and guided members through meditation sessions. He told members that his son was conceived through theogamy, or marriage with the gods.
Yeah.
He also stated that his daughter was conceived immaculately, like Jesus Christ with Mary.
Oh, sure.
Luc Jouret, the other leader, claimed that in a previous life, he was a member of the Knights Templar, for which this cult was based upon, and that he was the third reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Of course he was.
Using the power that they gave him, Jouret would choose female members of the cult to engage with sexually before ceremonies, claiming that they gave him the spiritual strength to do his holy duties.
Yeah,
Get
they
it?
did.
Get
yeah,
it?
they did.
Get it?
Get it? Holy dude.
Yeah.
Got it.
Low-hanging fruit of a joke.
And the last member, Gary, thought that he came back as a pink flamingo one time. It's like he's like Gary in the corner.
No one liked Gary.
Which is fabulous. And did you know that a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance?
Yes, it is.
Luc Jouret, who was the homeopathic doctor, was interested in attractive, wealthy, and influential members, and let it be known that several affluent Europeans were secret members of the group.
Always.
Members of the Order of the Solar Temple had to pay to move up in the organization. Duh. There were initiation fees, and gifts were required to be given to leaders, and mandatory tuition. In exchange, members were let in on the cult secrets and promised salvation upon the return of the second coming of Christ. People left the cult once they realized their leaders were living the life from these fees.
It's just a frat for crazy people.
Basically.
It's a crazy people's frat when you like, but somehow, I don't know, they didn't get enough of it in college or whatever. These are not like poor people that get into
It's just like
cults,
Eyes
right?
Wide Shut sort of thing is what
I still
I'm
haven't
feeling.
seen that.
Yeah, it's
What?
just like
Yeah.
massive
Is it a
orgy
thing?
parties.
Yeah.
It's a movie, yeah.
Oh,
It's-
shit.
Yeah.
Feature length, the whole thing?
Oh, yeah. All the way through.
In English?
Most of it.
Damn.
The movie trailer's at least 2 minutes.
So over 6 years, the Order of the Solar Temple gained about 400 members, and they were grouped into 3 different sections, 3 different levels. The Amanta Club, the Arcadia Club, and the International Knighthood Organization.
But club?
Yes.
That's so lame.
It is very late. People want to be included. I feel like that's what a lot of
Club.
cults
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
are based upon.
Oh, yeah,
People
that's-
want to feel like they belong somewhere. So the Amanta Club was for members who were basically just spreading the cult's message. They would do, the ambassadors would give lectures around the world about their doctrine. And then the next level up was the Arcadia Club, and they were allowed to know a bit more of the cult's secrets and were promised the reward of coming closer to a quote-unquote higher consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Elitism, all right.
Woke.
Or going
Wokeness.
clear.
And one had to be hand-selected to reach this level. The highest circle of the cult was called the International Knighthood Organization, which involved secret initiation rituals, and its members had access to publications others did not.
Winn-Dixie coupons.
The library.
Yeah.
Jouret gave presentations around Switzerland discussing things like love and biology, and using his degree, he was a homeopathic doctor, to kind of give him some credibility about
Right.
this.
So much credibility.
These talks
I'm a
started...
pseudoscience doctor.
Doctor!
In quotes.
Listen
Yeah.
to me, I know things. These talks started to have a rather apocalyptic message around the eventual self-destruction of the Earth through environmental disasters. With his and DeMambro's solutions for how to be among those who would survive, going into their survivalist tactics. Of course, that eventually wasn't enough to keep people engaged. You know, because everyone's always like, climate change, what a bunch of hubbub. So with their quote-unquote credibility, internally and externally starting to wane, the new message emphasized that life on Earth was an illusion.
Nice.
Elders told members
I like
that their only hope lay in shedding their earthly bodies in order to be reborn on an unnamed planet or orbiting the dog star Sirius. So Joseph de Mombro's son, who he said was conceived through theogamy, the marriage with the gods. Eventually, his son, it's a French name, Elie, E-L-I-E, started to question the family organization the older he became, which one should. When news came out that visions presented to the members were actually holograms and special effects faked by Elie's father, he started to get vocal about his suspicion that things weren't on the level. Several people quit the cult in response, and his son walked away from the quote-unquote family business. This was a huge blow to his father's credibility and plans for the transition, which is also known as the mass suicide, which soon came after.
Damn.
Several days before this first mass suicide, de Mombro recruited about 12 of his closest and highest ranked followers. They recreated their version of the Last Supper. De Mombro took on the role of Christ and led everyone through this traditional dinner, and this inner circle actually was aware of the murder plans that were forthcoming.
Wait, so they were eating this was
actually
their mass suicide.
the knowing Last Supper for them.
Holy shit!
Him and
that's
12
badass.
people.
So
that's extremely badass.
It's nuts, is what
That's
it is.
extremely nuts and badass that you were like.
It's badass and nuts.
So yeah, they knew the ending to their own cult. Their own
You're right in the script.
Fucked up.
Damn.
Holy shit!
meta.
In late September or early October, a 3-month-old baby was killed at the Order Center in Morin Heights, Quebec.
That is not badass.
The baby had been, this is really disturbing, and I'm sorry. The baby had been stabbed repeatedly with a wooden stake.
Wow. So it was a vampire. Maybe they're, trying to protect us.
That's Mandaddy at
It is believed that de Mombro ordered the murder because he identified the baby as the Antichrist and described in the Bible. He believed that the Antichrist was born into the order to prevent him from succeeding in his spiritual goals. Soon after, October 5th, 1994, a few days after this brutal murder of this 3-month-old baby, 53 members of the cult in Switzerland and Canada were found dead, including its founders Luc Jouret and Joseph de Mombro.
What year was this again?
1994.
So I guess they had the internet. They could have emailed everyone, but it's just kind of weird.
A very
how,
basic internet.
Yeah, but everyone the world over committed suicide on this one day.
It's probably a phone call,
Yes.
a couple phone calls, get everything coordinated.
Yeah, I just wonder has there
Noon your time or noon our time we were doing this? It gets so confusing.
Yeah, was this the first? I mean, maybe you don't know this, but I'm just curious if this was one of the first instances of a worldwide or multinational suicide pact, like different countries.
That is very interesting because
I didn't
this
think about the
did
multi-
extend. And what's interesting is nothing that I found, because they were based in Europe, but actually the leaders eventually made their way over into Canada. So they were actually in Canada by this point.
They just type in EDN. It's like, oh, everybody die now. Okay.
Everybody die now.
Chat room.
Is that what EDN stands
EDN
for?
says everybody die now.
That's funny.
That's fucked up.
So 53 members of the cult in Switzerland and Canada were found dead, including its founders, Luc Jouret and Joseph de Mombro. So the defining characteristics of the mass suicide was fire. Remember that their whole big thing was everyone's going to die in volcanoes. Volcanoes
Burn
erupting.
themselves alive?
And it was what was the name of the cult again?
The Order of the Solar Temple.
Solar Temple.
there you
Cool.
go.
And of course, fire would obviously bring a bunch of authorities to come see what the hell is on fire.
Yeah, you see something on fire, you look at it.
Oh, check it out.
Exactly.
It's burning.
A burned farmhouse in Switzerland held 23 bodies,
Whoa,
and 25 more were burned in ski chalets in another part of Switzerland. The other 15 were found in Canada, where the cult leaders lived. Inner Circle members appeared to have used poison to die, while other members had plastic bags over their heads and had been shot in the head.
Whoa!
They wore white ceremonial robes and were arranged in a circle, feet together, facing a temple.
They really took it all the way.
Yes. And de Mombro's son, Elie, his body was found among these in the mass suicide. But no one really knows if his defection was misreported. Because remember, he was saying he didn't really believe in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was never really allowed for him to defect. Or maybe that he was kind of against his
They
will
went
to
and got
participate
him
in
and brought
this.
him-
Yeah.
Oh my God. Damn.
So that was October of 1994. On December 23rd of 1995, 16 bodies were discovered in a star formation in the Vercors in the mountains of France. It was found later that 2 of them shot the others and then committed suicide by firearm and immolation, which is setting oneself on fire.
They did the double.
And then in March of 1997, 5 members of the order, so there really wasn't that many people left, right?
There seems to be a lot less of us.
five holdouts.
Oh, did you type in EDN last night? Did you?
Dude, I didn't even get on until
I told you.
Tuesday. My bad. Shit.
I mean, not for nothing. They are very committed.
Yeah.
Really? All
We keep
in.
missing the dates. So like, no,
Jesus.
we're gonna go 2 weeks from now. I'm calling out of work.
And you wonder, the ones in the farmhouse, did they like at least take a sleeping pill or something before it happened, or did they just like stand there and burn?
I feel like a lot of people were actually drugged
Okay.
throughout this.
I can see that.
December 1995 was the 16 bodies that were found in France. And then in 97, where 5 members of the order took their own lives in Saint Casimir in Quebec. A small house erupted in flames, leaving behind 5 burned bodies for the police to pull from the rubble. 3 teenagers, 13, 14, and 16. They were the children of one of the couples that died in the fire. They were discovered in a shed behind the house, alive, but heavily drugged.
Were they members of this cult?
I don't think they had a choice.
They were the children of people within the
So
cult,
probably.
so most likely. So, and by that point, the Order of the Solar Temple was no more, allegedly, though we are not sure.
I feel like if we're standing around, we're talking mass suicide, like master types EDN into the fucking cult chat room, and everyone shows up with your robe on. You're like, all right, today's the day, and then they hand you the bag, and you put your bag over your head, and then a guy steps up with a gun. And you're like, I thought it was mass suicide. Like, you get to fucking kill me. Like, is this part of Master's plan? Like, can we get another email chain started? Like, I want to know exactly, should you be shooting me in the head?
Did someone just raise their hand? Okay, before we start, I have a question.
I thought it was suicide. You get to kill me? What the fuck? Like, I'm...
Can I talk to the supervisor?
Exactly.
Is Bob here today? Is it
Who
Tuesday?
organized
Is
this?
Bob here? Because he did not say anything about shooting me in the head.